Hi everybody, and thanks for joining me today. So we finally got to the peacock's chest this month. Yeah, so this part should go pretty quick because there's not a lot of colors. It's about 4 or 5 colors for a huge area. I started a little bit of it, but not a lot. And we are closing in on 83,000 stitches completed. Should definitely pass that today because we're at 82,921. So yeah. So I hope you all had a good New Year's. Fun if you went out, or restful if you stayed home. Yeah, I did not stay up. I haven't in years. Like I said, I like my sleep too much. I try to keep a consistent sleep schedule because, yeah, when you have insomnia, that's really important. Yeah, you get trouble enough sleeping, so try to stay to getting up and going to bed at mostly the same times, although I will sleep in when I can, but sort of if it's a day to sleep in, but I wake up and look at the clock and it's my normal time to get up and I'm not exhausted, then yeah, I will get up rather than laze around. But yeah, if I sleep past my normal, when the alarm would go off when it's a school day, because you have to get up, get kiddo up. I don't have to drive him in anymore, but yeah, I still need to get him out of bed. Otherwise, he's like me. He'll wake up, get absorbed on his phone or something, and lose track of time. Way too easy to do, so yeah. Although, I did tell him he's old enough now. I'll wake him up in the morning, and then it's up to him to get himself out the door on time. I don't like bugging him, and I said that, if you're old enough to drive now, you're old enough to get yourself to where you need to be on time, to plan your time, and so far he's been good. He was almost late one morning because he forgot his lunch and he had to come back and get it, but other than that, he's been pretty consistent about it, so I figured he might be late a couple of days and sort of learn his lesson, but no, he's been pretty good about it. Okay, I just put this project back in the frame, so there's always a little bit of adjusting of the extra fabric on the back. Oh, wait a sec, yep, it's the wrong row. I realized it was not matching with the grid line. I was 2 stitches away from the grid line instead of just 1. Yeah, especially when a lot of this color is similar, it can be harder to tell, so. Yeah, it is still unbelievably mild out there. Like I said to someone, I can see the grass, which is very unusual for this time of year. I mean, it's all brown and yellow and not alive looking, but I mean, usually by now we have a couple feet of snow. Our neighbors across the street, they get more sunlight during the day than we do because of the direction they're facing, and they have no snow on their lawns. Yeah, we still have a little bit because ours is shaded for most of the day, but like nothing like it normally is at this time of year. It's looking like, April or March or April out there. It's just wild. Yeah, they said sort of all the areas in North America where you would expect snow for Christmas really didn't get much. Let's take a look at how long. Oh, pardon me, I did trim my nails, so I have no talons to grab my, okay, so that is a fairly long one, but let's see what I have for short pieces here. None. Okay. Well, I guess I'll start another thread. Yeah. I could skip a stitch, but I'm just going to break up this section of blue here because, well, there's a lot of this color, so 2 threads will get used up pretty quick anyway. So I won't necessarily be going diagonal, just kind of following the colors here. Yeah. When I first started stitching with parking, I was more diagonal, but now I've kind of relaxed that a little bit. Okay. Yeah, so hard to believe it's a new year. So, do you have any New Year's resolutions? I don't really make them because I found, for one, I don't stick with them. And, yeah, I just figure it's kind of an arbitrary date on the calendar. So when you want to make a new habit or whatever, just do it whenever you feel like it. Doesn't have to be on the 1st. Yeah, I had someone I knew who said they actually would stay away from the gym in January so people wouldn't think they're somebody who went there just because they had a New Year's resolution. Because they were a pretty consistent gym goer, which I thought was kind of funny. But yeah, because they said most people give up by like the 19th or something. Yeah. So they get a surge in gym memberships because people say they want to get fit, and then yeah, it drops off fairly quickly. Doesn't even last a month. So, although someone said, you know, New Year's resolution could be for anything. It doesn't have to be for difficult things. You could make your New Year's resolution to eat a gummy bear every day if you wanted it to be, you know. Or somebody said, you know, your New Year's resolution could be for revenge. But yeah, I have to, I mean, not really a New Year's resolution, but I have to pick up my studying Hungarian again. I kind of let that slack a little bit during the holidays. Yeah, it was funny because I basically watched nothing but Christmas movies during December. So I had over 30 episodes of Murder, She Wrote recorded now on my PVR to catch up on, because it's on Vision TV. It's they show it 5 days a week. So yeah, from like mid-November until Christmas, I watched basically nothing but Christmas movies. So yeah, it just kept piling up. Yeah, I actually have a spreadsheet of them all because I have so many. Over the years, I've watched about 900 of them. Yeah, I bet a lot of people didn't know there were that many. Well, like Lifetime and Hallmark, they put out like 40 new ones a year each. So yeah. Yeah, and then we're gonna let our Prime membership lapse because it ends in this month, and I'm gonna switch to something else. Probably do Disney Plus for a few months, and then Netflix. Yeah, I said I don't pay for more than one at a time because you really only have so much time, right? So yeah, I said we have one, we watch everything we want to see on that, then we cancel it, switch to something else. Yeah, kind of cycle through. By the time you get to the first one again, there's more shows released that you want to watch. So yeah. So it was between Disney Plus and Netflix, but my husband really wants to watch the new Star Wars stuff that is on Disney Plus, the Obi and the Mandalorian. So yeah, we're gonna do that first. I said, oh, that's fine, because actually I have a few DVD sets I bought in the last few months I haven't had time to watch anyway, so I will work my way through those. Oh, plus I have some stuff on Tubi too. Tubi is free, at least it is where I live. You just have to watch ads. Yeah. Oh, that didn't work. Yeah, they have quite a eclectic selection. Like, there's a lot of indie stuff, which some of it's okay, some of it's, you know, not so good. But they also have some like big box stuff too, and yeah, I'm going to finish up Midsummer Murders because I've seen up to season 20. I think was included with Prime. After that you had to pay for I believe it was a PBS, or maybe it was a BritBox subscription, something like that, and I didn't feel like paying for it. And yeah, they have it on Tubi, so I'll watch the last those on. It's kind of annoying though. I said my TV provider won't let us get Disney Plus through their cable box. You'd have to upgrade to a new one, and I've got a whole bunch of stuff recorded I gotta watch first. So instead, when my husband built our theater system, he included an HDMI output so that we could put stuff on a computer and put it through the system, and it shows up on the big TV and even the surround sound. So yeah, we watched some stuff because CBC Gem has similar. You can watch their shows. You can either pay to get it for free without, or to get it free of ads, or you can watch it for free if you're willing to watch ads. So yeah, we watched all of Kim's Convenience on there, and yeah, it worked out pretty good. So yeah, we have so many options nowadays, right? It's not like when I said we were kids, when you had to time your bathroom breaks with the commercial breaks, you know, and somebody yelled, "Oh, it's coming back," and you'd have to quickly dash out there, you know, so you didn't miss anything, because there was no pausing live TV back then, or rewinding anything. Oh, I remember recording movies off of the TV with the remote in your hand so you could cut out the commercials. You'd press pause and then press record again when it started again, so you had to be really quick on the trigger, right? Yeah. And we'd have to take turns so people could get a bathroom break, right? So my mom would be doing it for a few commercials. Okay, you take over so I can use the bathroom next commercial break. And yeah, you had to pay attention so you didn't miss when the commercial break was over and miss the beginning of the movie again. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because there was a thread recently where some younger people were saying, like, did payphones actually exist? Because I've only ever seen them in movies, you know? It's like, oh yeah, I remember those. Yeah. Interestingly, they said in some countries, they replaced the old telephone boxes. They kept them, but now they carry defibrillators, because they said that decommissioning it and basically ending the line and the electricity to the box would actually cost more than just repurposing them. So yeah, I found that pretty interesting. They changed it to defibrillators, so something that everyone can use and could potentially save someone's life one day, which I thought was really neat. Okay, so now we will fill in a bit of this color. So yeah, we're kind of gonna work up to about here, I think, for a while. Keep filling in. I sort of keep going further out to the right to prevent closing stitches in where it makes sense to. So that is why I chose to do a thread here. But yeah, it's gonna be time to take my Christmas tree down soon and all my decorations, which always makes me sad, but yeah. I knew someone who they left theirs up all year, but I said, but it's not special anymore then, right? Yeah. I like it to be special. Take my Christmas music off my phone. Yeah, it was funny. I remember I went to a clothing store in the mall one year in like March, and they never bothered to take the Christmas music out of the rotation, so there was still, it would have 2 or 3, you know, regular songs and then a Christmas one. Yeah, because nobody had ever bothered to switch it back. So like I said, this would go fast because we're only about 15 minutes in and we're going to be past 50 stitches already. So yeah. Okay, actually I can extend this up to here and do these two as well before I tie it off. I might even get the very last one, we'll see. Okay, yeah, I think I will park that there. I can sneak one more stitch out of it, although I won't be stitching it for a little while. I'm gonna work filling this in here to the left. As you can see, tons of this color. It's going to zip by really quickly. Yeah, I need to probably replace the bolts on my clamp here on my floor stand because I really can't make them open and shut properly anymore. I can open them up, but I can't really make it tighten up anymore. I finally had to put some, I bought some huge elastic hair bands, and I'm using those to kind of hold it in. So I kind of slide the whole thing in the clamp and then use the hair bands to hold it so it doesn't slide back out again. Yeah. That's one of those, I keep forgetting to go to the hardware store because new bolts is really cheap, like less than $5. And it's just one of those things that I don't remember to do because I don't usually have to go to the hardware store, so yeah. I always say if it's not written on the list, I don't end up getting them. Sometimes even when something is on the list, I still miss it, so. I can only remember when there's like 3 or 4 things, and I know exactly the number of things I have to remember. But yeah, I had one time, I was gonna get in my car after work, and thinking I needed 4 things, and I could think of what 3 of them were, and I couldn't think of what the 4th one was. Then I started up my car, and the wiper fluid, that it was low, the light came on. I was like, oh yeah, that was the 4th thing. Okay, good. So I was thinking I was gonna be so mad at myself when I got home, and then of course remembered what the thing at the store I needed was, because that's always the way, right? Yeah. Nothing to jog your memory of what you needed at the store, but getting home from the store. Okay, just making sure I didn't pierce that fabric in the wrong spot. Yeah, I was working on 18 count yesterday, so I kind of have to readjust to these bigger squares again. Not that there's a huge difference, but there is a difference. Because yeah, I had one of my friends was working on 18 count for one project and 28 count for the other, and said yeah, it was a huge adjustment from huge to tiny. Yeah, I have 2 projects on 18 count at the moment, but I'm not sure if I'm going to start any more. I'm finding it almost a little too small for my taste, the squares. So like I've said, I might do some 16 or I might do more 14. I haven't decided yet, but I have some time because I have this one to complete, and then my next focus piece will be Deer Creek, which will also be on 14 count. I think that might be off a little, is it? Oh, just my eye is tricking me. Yeah, that was actually the fabric that I originally started this piece on, and then I used the wrong color. I said the most annoying part about that was I knew lots of people were making that mistake, and I thought I'd been super careful not to, and I still made the same silly mistake. Yeah, I used 01 instead of white. I kept thinking to myself, it looks kind of dark, but I'll trust the pattern, and it's like, well, you could only trust the pattern if you were actually following the pattern. Almost forgot to switch my jars around. As I've said before, I'm keeping my ends separate, and I used a bunch of them from this project to make a little Christmas ornament. I say little, but actually it's pretty big. Like, yeah, fits the whole palm of my hand. They had littler ones, but I wanted a bigger one so I could have more color selection in there. Okay, so just looking and planning ahead a bit. So yeah, when I have a huge area of one color, sometimes I stitch across sort of, pardon me, several diagonals at once, and sometimes I split it up. It just depends how I feel like working, and I'm thinking I may split this up a bit, because if I want to work across the whole area, I'll have to fill in a whole bunch more at the top, and yeah, that's getting to be sort of too wide of a area, wider than I like to work on, so. So yeah, I hope you find this still somewhat interesting, even if it's bigger blocks, but I've had quite a few people say they do like the bigger blocks because you can see a lot of progress being made, which, yeah, I admit is definitely something I enjoy. The confetti is more interesting and definitely takes more brain power for me to do too. Yeah, my last focus piece was almost all confetti, and so I definitely had to take more brain breaks from it. Yeah, and then actually I started a new knitting project because my husband's sister had a baby a few months ago, and I have not given her a baby blanket yet, so yeah, it was kind of tough because I have my sister and my cousin were having babies at the same time, and I was like, oh my gosh, you guys, I can't keep up. Yeah, it's a cute blanket with hearts on it. And actually it turned out to be a good time to start a new project, as I had to buy more yarn and they were having a year-end clearance sale, so I didn't even realize until I went to pay for it, and I was expecting it to be around $30, and then it rang up at like 18 bucks. I was like, oh, sweet. Yeah, I'll take it. So yeah, they were fairly picked over, and it was hard to find enough yarn of the same color and the right thickness, but I finally did. Yeah, there was tons of the really thick yarn. I say they almost look like big fat caterpillars for making blankets, but that's not really for a baby blanket, especially not one that has like lacy hearts in it. So, and I had to make sure it was a machine washable yarn because, yeah, I'm not going to give something hand wash only to new parents because that's just very impractical. Yeah, because I had my cousin when I mailed it or gave it to her, and she said, oh, how do I clean this? I'm like, oh no, just throw it in the wash. I would never give you anything that's too delicate when it's going to be for a baby, right? So yeah, it's almost like a checkerboard with hearts in the center of the squares pattern, so it's pretty cute. Yeah, I think I've made 4 blankets out of that pattern now. Yeah, something like that. But yeah, I said I don't like knitting on a deadline. It stresses me out. That's part of why, like I said, I stopped making predictions for my cross stitch because it was just giving me more stress. And I want this to be enjoyable, so yeah, we started at almost exactly 27%. It was 27.02. So we'll see what we get. Yeah, and it's harder to estimate because, again, we will get more stitches than usual, I think, because there is a lot less confetti in this area. Yeah, so I'm going to set all those aside for now, and I'm going to carry on this way before I head back up to the top and stitch some more there. Yeah, I don't think we'll even get all of his chest stitched in one spot. I'm probably going to have to move the frame halfway through as it's cross, like, oh geez. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, like a dozen columns, which is kind of further than I can stretch on 14 count. If I was working on a higher count, then yeah, I could probably fit it all in one bit of the frame. So yeah, we'll see how long this pass takes because, like I said, there is a lot. It's hard to say because the right-hand side is quite detailed, the left-hand side is not, so it's not really even progress across the width of the piece. Oh, that's no good. Yeah, this pieces ended up uneven. Just wanted to make sure there were no knots or loops on the back. Oh, I got a really bad one the other day, and somehow I didn't catch it till I had stitched through it with a couple other threads too, and I had to actually take the whole thing off of the frame to fix it because I could not do it from the underside. It was too awkward, and in the in the end, that knot was not coming out. I had 2 needles in it. I was using tweezers to try and hold it while I picked at it, and that knot was not going to come out for anything. Just yeah. Even after I managed to unstitch the other threads that had been stitched through the snarl, the thread itself was so wrapped around itself and tied so tight that it was just, yeah. Like it was starting to get to the point where I was picking the fibers out of it and it was just shredding apart. And so, yeah, at that point, even if I got the knot apart, it wouldn't have been any good because it would be so frayed. So, yeah, I had to cut it and I had to rip back until I could secure it. And, yeah, I was not happy. That took me, oh, geez, over an hour that afternoon to fix 5 freaking stitches. Oh, that was so annoying. Yeah. I have a lot of people say parking is slower, and I say it is does seem to be slower when you have to, especially when you have to change colors a lot, but I find in the long run, because it's more steady and consistent, I find that, at least for me, works out to be a bit faster because I do not have to spend as much time fixing errors, and I generally find knots right away rather than after they've been stitched all through and they're a huge mess. But of course there's always exceptions to it, like the other day when, yeah, I did not find it for a while. I was not a happy camper. Oh, sometimes when trying not to stitch across the grid line, it gets kind of wonky like that, so I just have to make sure it doesn't confuse me. Yeah, so sort of one drawback to the sewn on, and I'm thinking if I invest in any more fabric, I'm going to buy the stuff that's already been gridded. Okay, so Fortunately, there are a few color changes here, which should keep it from getting too boring, and also forces me to take a break so I don't hurt myself. Yeah, I saw some lady saying it was the most stitches she'd done in one day, and it was over 2,000, which was just like jaw-dropping. I just thought, man, my arms hurt just reading that. I think it was 2,010 stitches or something, but I mean, still, it's a lot. But yeah, she said that was sort of, she had the entire day to stitch. She started at like 7 in the morning and didn't end till like 11 at night. So yeah, I'd love to do that, but yeah, my arms would get so sore I wouldn't be able to stitch for like 3 days afterwards. So in the long run, wouldn't be worth it. Oh yeah, look at that. We're past 83,000. Okay, so pardon me. Ugh. Yeah, I don't know why my anxiety really spiked in the middle of the night last night, so didn't sleep so well. Ugh. Yeah, it's just one of those things that's like, for some reason my brain says, hey, remember every mistake you made, like, ever? Let's focus on it right now. Ugh. Yeah, I love this bright blue color. This was definitely what drew me to this pattern here. I'm going to go too shy this time. So try to keep that, the right hand edge kind of random so I don't get a tension line, just in case. So yeah, sometimes I go even, sometimes I go one stitch less, sometimes I go two. I haven't had trouble with lines, but you never know. I used to stitch strictly by page, and so I had sharp edges, and I never had a problem with page lines, but yeah, you never know. Like I said, they do say it's a big tension thing, and I never really had a problem with that with knitting either, so I guess I'm just kind of lucky in that. Oh yeah, I was saying we're gonna get Disney Plus. Apparently Malcolm in the Middle is on there too, which yeah, it's one of those shows you can't buy on DVD because they didn't get the music licensing for distribution, but they do get it for broadcast, and apparently streaming counts as broadcast, so yeah. Apparently they did release it in like the UK, but not where I am. Not for region 1. Yeah, I was telling my husband, like, if we wanted, we could potentially buy it on that and get one of the region-free DVD players, but then he said he's kind of worried that the outputs wouldn't match, that we might have to get a different TV, which would be a pain in the behind, so yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I hate all that region stuff. It's annoying. I supposedly heard there's a way you could actually like hack your DVD player to make it so it will read all regions, but I don't know. I'm not that tech savvy, so yeah, I often say I try not to work across too wide an area so I don't have too many live needles, but in this case that wouldn't really be a problem because there's very few colors, so yeah, we wouldn't have a lot of live needles anyway. This time I'll go one less. Yeah, so I saw lots of previews now on TV that shows are finally coming back this month now that the strikes are over, so yay! Obviously, there'll be fewer episodes this season, but yeah, I'm happy to get some new stuff. But like I said, I also supported the strike. I do believe that writers and actors deserve to be fairly paid for their work. Okay. All right, so I'm going to work two less this time because, yeah, because of the color below it. And then, of course, two less the next time. So I'm going to have two strands close to each other, but like I said, because there is so much of this color, that will not be a problem. Both will be used. Yeah, sometimes my worry with having two strands of the same color close to each other is you end up with more thread than you need and you have to end one off, but in this case there is so much of this color here that that will not be an issue. I don't know if you can hear my kiddo laughing in his room at his, yeah, he's watching silly videos. Yeah, he watches a lot of these weird staged ones where people just do the most ridiculous stuff for, you know, for likes and attention. I have to tell him, dude, like, that's totally fake. Yeah, just weird things like people filling up a computer with beans and then taking it into a repair place to get the guy's reaction. Like, okay. Oh, I remember when the Nintendo Wii came out, some guy went and stood in line for hours to buy one and then smashed it in front of people waiting in line just to film it and put it on the internet. Like, okay, dude. You really get enough, you know, traffic that makes it worth it to you? I don't get it. Oops. Okay, just gonna sort of scroll and look. Because, yeah, if the colors kind of slope this way, I may kind of follow them for a bit, rather than going back up to the top to stay diagonal. Diagonal-ish. All right. think we're going to pass 200 stitches in an hour. Yeah, which is always nice. Like I said, you can tell when it's the big blocks of color, those go really quick. To make sure I stop and take enough breaks too. Oh my gosh, that didn't sound right. A lot of times can catch a knot that way too. You pull it, it just sounds different. Doesn't come smoothly through the fabric. It strains more and then you know something's wrong. That was not quite right. Yeah, off by a teeny weeny bit, but enough that I could tell. Oh goodness, that looks really weird. Yeah, it must have pierced something, or I caught another thread on the back, but that strand was not lying straight. Let's see if I can get it to work this time. It probably came up on the wrong side of the strands that were already there. Yeah. All right, it looks still a little weird, but it's going to be a bottom leg, so I think we'll be able to cover it up and it shouldn't be an issue. I guess there's a point when I can get a little too finicky about it. Yeah, that looks okay now. I could feel there is not a snarl back there, because that can also sometimes be the cause of something lying strangely on the front. Okay, yeah, we're past 200 in under an hour. Yeah. Like I said, this section is going to go by pretty quickly. Don't know if we'll have it finished by the end of the month or not, because it is, like I said, quite a wide area. because yeah, it's like I said, 12 columns by about 60 rows, so yeah, that makes it over 7,000 stitches, so we'll see. It'll be pretty close, I should think. Well, when I was working on sort of just one project all month, I would do around 12 to 15,000 stitches in a month, depending on, of course, like I said, how much confetti there is. Okay, I think I'll get one more row out of this thread, and then the other thread of this color here, this one here will take over. Yeah, because it's longer, so it'll last for a little longer. I think I'm gonna have to take a break soon though, because yeah, my arms are starting to get a bit sore. I don't want to overdo it. I have learned the hard way not to push through the pain, because all you get for that is more pain. Yeah. Okay, so I think what I'll do is I will do these, park it, I'll finish off that thread, and then I think that is where I'm going to leave it for this session. Yeah, like I said, I normally try to make these sessions a bit longer for you guys, but with it being almost all one color, I am starting to feel that. And I don't want to injure myself, so. That should do it. $226. Yeah. In an hour, just under. I am definitely happy with that progress, but yeah, like I said, I need to take a break and stretch, give my arms a rest so that I don't hurt myself, so that is where I'm going to call it a day. Thank you so much for joining me today, and hope to see you here next time. Great, thanks everyone.